everybody. Communication rocks the nation. All right, we got Coach Marco, the Fitness Shaman, Coach Joe,
right.
Garden Guru. Joe, summer season. What's the plant? What do we use here for our garden? What's the summer plant here that we?
Well, what I will say is summer is actually not a great time to plant anything. Now is just kind of time to maintain care to your garden, especially this week. It's super hot, so just make sure you're watering. Ideally, you've planted by now. If you haven't, well, you could try. But the best times are spring, and the best time of year to plant is the fall. So you want to actually now is just kind of maintenance mode. Maybe you do a little bit here and there, but now you're just trying to keep it maintained.
That's good wisdom. So now we know once the fall podcasts start dropping, y'all, you're going to get some good gardening tips. So, Well, hey, listen, like we said in the first week, right, and second week, we're still getting our bearings on some things here with the podcast. The first week we had, the mic misconceptions here. And then last week, it seemed like everybody thought that, Coach Marco and Coach Joe were pulling a Jim Miller roofer flow here with smoking some cigs or any other substances while we're delivering the podcast. The answer is no. We have this incense. That's one of my rituals here, is to get some aromatherapy going on for our podcast, so that way we kind of get into the zone and provide you the content you need that allows us to feel a little bit more grounded. So, but yeah, welcome to episode 3, guys. We are here to deliver this idea of what is the most essential hour of your day. And if you've heard about in the CrossFit world, the best hour of your day, we're going to try to help you reframe your perspective about, essentially what does that mean for you, and hopefully deliver that in a way where, makes you think about how you just show up at MFP, and also how do we deliver this mission to you again of, living happier, healthier, performing in your life, doing things a little bit more purposefully in your day-to-day activities, and just simply, being able to perform, be functional, right? That's the main goal here. So let's get grounded here. Let's take our 3 breaths. So wherever you're at, take a moment to just, again, stop doing what you're doing. And again, if you're doing something that's really important, just have this idea of being aware, right? Notice that you're noticing. That simple act in itself is a great way to, be in that moment. So if you want to soften your eyes or close your eyes or just kind of keep your eyes open wherever you're at. And again, just take notice of what are you noticing right now. Is it just your posture, position? Is it any outside spaces, places, noises? Maybe if you're driving, you're focusing on staying in your lane, making a turn. And if you have a moment here to do a little reflection for me. And the reflection is about looking at yourself in the future. What does this version of yourself 10 years from now? Let's just give you the number 10. Right? We can think longer than that, but let's say 10 years. And what does this 10-year version of yourself look like in a way that makes you feel like you have this physical freedom, this ability to take what you learn from your physical practices and apply them in a more meaningful way outside of the gym? And just reflect, what do you look like 10 years from now? All this CrossFit, all this fitness that you're doing, how is that serving you? So let's take our 3 breaths. Forceful inhale through the nose. Hold your breath. Let it out. Breath in. Hold. Let it out. Breath in. Hold. Keep holding. Long, slow breath. Beautiful work, everybody. Joe, hit us with a quote.
All right, so today I have a quote from Peter Attia in his book Outlive. I know that the ladies at MFP Book Club have been reading Outlive, so maybe you've heard this quote already, but he says, I think people get old when they stop talking about the future. If you want to find someone's true age, listen to them. If they talk about the past and they talk about all the things that they did, they've gotten old. If they think about their dreams, their aspirations, and what they're still looking forward to, they're young. So I just I love that quote. I mean, just a really relevant way to think about not just aging, but our mindset to life, right? Like, are we looking forward? Do we have this growth mindset? Or are we kind of, looking in the past and reflecting in that reflection mode? So just having that growth mindset and just this excitement for life, really, I think gives us a new sort of energy that we could take with us into the gym or outside of it and everything that we're doing.
Yeah, it's really interesting. First of all, it's an amazing book for everybody at the gym. If you haven't heard about it or read it, Outlive really applies well to particularly people that do CrossFit, I think, in terms of how he talks about exercise later in the book. But, how do we find this balance of, understanding the past, right? Because the past could be beneficial, right? Using reflection as a tool. But if you're just looking on the past and not using it as a tool to look into like, what's my next chapter? What's my next, like getting excitement for this next phase of whatever I'm doing, right? But also finding the balance of both of those ends and then bringing it back to the present, right?
Yep.
I want to have my past to teach me lessons. I want to have the future to teach me to keep moving forward. I want to bring it to the here and now because really in that essence, like that's what matters. So maybe if you're just kind of hearing us talk about this, like maybe you're teetering on one side of those, right? Yeah. And so how do we find, ways to work with all those three things? And one thing that can apply to you all now with, particularly talking about the future, right? Like, what that keeps us young is you guys have some exciting things to look forward to at the gym. So we have our summer programming, which is going to start next Monday. And at the end of, once we get our spiel about the most essential hour of your day, we're going to talk a little bit about programming, give you guys a general overview to get you guys excited, because really that's a big part of, what we do at the gym, right? It's about creating phases in which, I've been a member at MFP for a while. That's something that we always do. We have usually like winter, a spring, a summer, and a fall, and all have different components and different purposes and different things and new skills and drills and themes that we get to develop. So do you have anything general to say about the program from your perspective of being both a member and a coach and like just looking forward to that new transition?
Yeah, well, I think there's always once we get to the end of the program, I think it's always you start to get excited to try something new because I do understand some members will come in, and I felt this as a member. It's like, oh man, we're doing landmines again, or like, oh man, we're doing this again. But in those moments, it's important to recognize you have to be patient. Like there is a lot of value to following a program consistently and carrying it all the way through until the very end. So, for those of us, for our members who have stuck with our spring cycle, I really am grateful that you've showed up and you've done the work. Because even though sometimes maybe it's not as exciting to see, oh, we're doing this movement again, we did it 2 weeks ago, it's really important, kind of managing that and understanding that you are playing the long game, and it's important to stick with a program. It's a great mindset to have, and then just naturally it's fun to try new things. So I hope you're excited to get into a new flow for the summer, and I hope you're ready to get outside more and enjoy the beautiful weather. So it's a great time. It's just an exciting time to embrace new things and learn new skills.
Yeah, I think it's really important. We can just, like you said from that quote, right? We want to provide things for you guys to look forward to, and yeah, there's consistency, but there's also variance with that CrossFit methodology that we talked about last week to give you guys. So yeah, we'll talk more about the summer programming in a little bit, but some other things for you, right? So just giving you guys again those reminders that we have Sunday options for you guys. Two of the big things that we have right now are the boot camp, Reboot Fitness with Coach Steph. I've been participating myself, love it, and it's a great way to also like maybe invite some of those friends. We talked a lot about referrals last week, and so maybe invite somebody that isn't really sure yet, and so just a great way to introduce them to the community. I have my breath workout, the Infinity class, the following weekend. And the following weekend, we may have something really, really interesting for you guys for both Saturday and Sunday, the 29th and the 30th. It's called Wad and Pod. So everybody knows, for the most part, my obsession with ice and the cold. And probably most of you have heard about cold therapy. But yeah, that might be something that's coming up for you. So stay tuned. We got a workshop coming up with Dr. Chris Live, and that will be on July 6th. It will be 2 hours from 9 to 11. It's free. It's a great opportunity for you guys to get involved with Dr. Chris Live, especially when it comes to the longevity movement, living pain-free, and yeah, just exploring movement in a different way. And the big thing we talked about last week was membership referrals. And again, you are all a big part of the mission in terms of not just being a member and supporting the business and all those things, but your word of mouth really means a lot. And like we said, that is by far our best way of bringing people in is you all. So we appreciate anything that you guys do in terms of just trying to have conversations with others about trying out MFP, regardless if they don't do a trial or not. Like, just spread the good word. And so just maybe reflect, like, have you tried to talk to somebody? If you haven't received the email from last Thursday, we pretty much provided you all a template of what's happening in terms of like what that member gets in terms of a discounted membership and you getting a free month. We gave you guys a little bit of structure around like what you could actually send to them through text message. Yes, it's scripted, but if you want to maybe put your own little twist to it, that's totally fine. So yeah, Joe, any advice for quick advice for anybody that's maybe talking to somebody about a membership referral? We know we talked a lot about it last week, but something maybe just to recap on for them.
My one piece of advice is try not to talk too much about it. It's so easy to get so like super excited, and like I know like our members that like people we're with every day, like you guys get it. You're there every day.
Right.
But it's kind of hard to talk about it. It's like you don't want to overwhelm anybody by saying we do this and that and that and that and that. Like I know it's all awesome and like I love it and you love it, but if you could talk to anybody, just like encourage them to show up and be curious and say, hey, keep it simple. Just like one of the things that that helps me as I coach is like, hey, keep it simple. This has really helped me. I think you would love it. I think it would really help you. Just show up and try it. Keep it simple. Don't give them the whole CrossFit speech. They could do that later on their own. After maybe they stay for a week, maybe then they'll buy their Nobles and their Flux and whatever they want to buy. But
get their CrossFit shoes.
Yeah, they'll buy their junk headband. But just keep it simple. Just say like, hey, this has been great for me. I think it'd be great for you. Just try it.
Yeah, super easy. And the big thing too, you can if they ask questions, the big thing I like to tell people is that it really provides that variety, right? We do get a lot of people that come in because of variety. If people are hesitant, hey, like they have coaches that have a lot of experience. We have a new program that's going to start, the following week. It's a great time to start as a beginner when we start a new phase, so that way you can kind of get on the same track as everybody else. And so it might be a good opportunity for someone to try that out. And yeah, just be like, hey, you're going to feel supported. Like everybody's there for the same reason. You don't have to make them feel overwhelmed when you talk to them about it. But also get an idea too, which I'm sure many of you do, is get an understanding of like what's the relationship with movement and health. Do they find or do they think of these things as an essential component to their lifestyle? And if you maybe get a sense if they don't, well, that doesn't mean shy away from trying to work with them, but how do we help people realize that these are non-negotiables, right? These are things that you invest in, just like you invest in a lot of other things in your life. And, when people talk about like pricing with a membership and all those things, it's, you are investing in an essential component of your well-being. And so that's really going to move us now into really our topic for today, which is reframing this idea of making CrossFit or the gym the most essential hour of your day. And so if you're new to CrossFit, you may have never heard this. If you've been in CrossFit, you probably heard it, but it's a very big saying that we say CrossFit is the best hour of your day. And that makes a lot of sense for a lot of different reasons, right? It's very valid, and it's a big part of the CrossFit community. Like there's even a business called the Best Hour of Your Day that is developed by CrossFit affiliate owners that help affiliate owners run their business. And they're very, very knowledgeable and very reliable individuals in the business world that can help affiliates. So there's nothing wrong with the saying per se, but what I'm trying to have us understand is that our lives are composed of 23 other hours that should be better than the gym.
Yeah.
And I want to just say, first of all, like I'm thrilled that people say that, MFP is like the best hour of their day, right? It really serves my purpose for what, I want to provide you guys. And it sure does help the ego for sure. But believe it or not, that's not what I want for you guys. And that's not what any of us want for you. It's really about this idea of what do you do in that 1 hour in the gym that allows you to go back into the next 23 hours and do those other 23 hours of your lifestyle with more purpose, more fulfillment, with more gratitude, more joy, more love, more energy. And that's the reflection, because what Joe and I will talk about is, how that narrative shifts a little bit and people maybe, don't prioritize those other 23 hours. So for you, Joe, in terms of like just that general idea of like reframing this idea, right? We're saying, the most essential hour, vital hour of your day. What comes to your mind first when you think of something like that in terms of that wording?
I think it's a really important distinction to make, because like when you do get so focused on what you're doing in the gym as being the best hour of your day, you kind of forget about everything else outside of it, and you lose that balance that's super important. What I think about, I love fitness. Fitness is certainly one of my passions, as it is one of yours. But I think people who love fitness, one of their true passion is just life, like living life, and they love fitness because they could live their life so much better. Not their life isn't great because they work out. That's why people love fitness. I mean, think about your health, like your fitness, you're working out to live your life better. Like you have a true like love for life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I think is important to keep in mind, especially when you're in that, you're no longer a newbie, you're getting the hang of things are starting to click, and you just kind of, you want more, more, more. And like, I've been there before, back in young Joe days when I was a member at other gyms. Like, I remember I would just want to spend 5 hours in the gym doing like accessory work and all this stuff. And then I look back, I'm like, man, I could have been doing so much other stuff. Like, I didn't need to be doing all that. Like, use that essential hour to like just enjoy life more, and like be better at things and embrace things, and just, be more present in every other aspect that I'm doing outside of it. So I think I'm glad you brought it up. It's an important distinction, and one that like, people forget, because like working out is fun, being at the gym is fun, but it's not the only thing.
Yeah. Another thing I thought of too with this is like, we see in many places outside of gym, probably global gyms or most part. I'm not saying I'm not knocking anything, but like I've been around spaces where people spend hours in the gym. And believe it or not, and I'm sure if you're already part of CrossFit MFP, you know this, but like you don't need more than 1 hour in spending time on your fitness. You really do not. You're right. That's why CrossFit is what it is. It's short, impactful, and it makes a significant impact, even with, a 15-minute AMRAP. Those things really do make a difference in terms of, quality and intensity. Um, but yeah, it's very, very common that it becomes an obsessive thing. I'm not saying that people in the gym have this, but just giving you guys this understanding and reality that, um, you know, and and I've gone through this myself. But like, what's your relationship with fitness and movement? Just reflect on that. Like, how do I view this, and how do we view this in a way where, it's serving me to live a better life versus becoming an obsession, right? And then I could see where it becomes an obsession for a lot of us, because we have components of our health, or we have, aspects of our health or body composition that we want to change.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how do we find this balance of letting this become a slow roast, enjoying the process, not becoming overly obsessive with it, and then allowing us to come back to our life with, again, a little bit more juice.
Well, also too, what really, for me, I've been to, before, we moved here and I found MFP. I've been to a lot of CrossFit gyms, and MFP is the first CrossFit gym out of like 5 CrossFit gyms I've been through throughout my years, where there is no different training for any member or coach. The coaches are in the class with the members doing the same program an hour a day. There's nobody in the corner, doing their own thing. Like, everybody is there for the same reason. Everybody's bought in, and I think that's a lot of the power of it, because it's like you lead by example, and that's something we do. Like, we're in the class. Like, if you want to do other stuff outside the gym, like you love to bike, you love to run, like go for it. That's part of it. But like, you don't have to just be in the gym, just doing your own special programming. Like, the way that we do it is, the way that you put your touch on it is thoughtful enough that it serves everybody. And that's, it gives you just like the gift of time to enjoy life.
Yeah. Improving health versus decreasing health. And one of the things that came to my mind was like, are you actually enjoying the things that you do outside? So one of the ways too we could think about this, for example, is, um, you're going out to dinner with your friends or something, right? And, yes, we're being more mindful and cognizant of the things we eat, but can you also, enjoy, going out to dinner and having, something that's maybe not, doesn't fit your macros or something, and be content with that, but also not feel like you have to like crush yourself in the gym the next day. Like, where's that relationship come with? Because I think that's really where we're not making strides in our mental health, is like, if we're obsessing over coming to the gym and overdoing it because I'm making poor decisions outside of the gym, or I'm not having good relationship with things outside of the gym, right? So there's like so many different directions where this could go.
Yeah.
And these are just kind of things to be mindful of. And there's a lot of different ways, a lot of different rabbit holes we could talk about in particular. But yeah, it just really comes down to, again, you know, finding. I talk about this idea of like finding passion outside of the gym, right? So the gym, absolutely, it's a passion. Like, I want to be here because I want to better my physical health, so that things I do outside obviously are improving. And this is also a spiritual concept of, follow the things that you're most passionate about, where you're most excited about, because those are the things that are going to raise your frequency and your vibration. And that passion that you have to be in the gym, does it increase your passion to going outside of the gym? And going back to like one of the examples I was just talking about, which is like, do you go to work and you're like, oh man, this stinks?
Yeah.
Like, are we actually serving you? Or is it like, are we at least giving you the energy, saying maybe what you're doing for your work at this current moment isn't exactly, your full on passion, but maybe having that energy that you take from the gym, that allows you to boost that, metabolism, whatever is happening physiologically. You go back to your work and you're like, you know what? I'm feeling like I'm energized to do this a little bit better. I'm a little bit more grateful. for this experience of what I have outside. So yeah, those are a few.
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? Because like fitness itself is a passion, and it
Right.
can be a passion. I think that's certainly like valid, but there comes a point when you start to lose balance is when I think you start to struggle a little bit. Like
Right.
always having balance for anything you're passionate about in life. Like balance is so important. And if you get to a point where, other aspects of your life are kind of like suffering, you're not able to you can't enjoy time with your family or your friends as much, or once you get to that point where you feel like you're losing something because of a passion, it's when you need to start rethinking and getting curious about your relationship to it. So and again, like it's not like we don't want to see members all day. Like I love our members; it'd be great to see them all day, but we don't want you to like. We want you to just have this vigor for life, and we want to support that. And we know that if you're there all day, you're not really embracing your full potential as a person. You're probably not. You're not offering all that you can offer, whether it is to your work or your other passions or your family or your friends. Like everybody has so much to offer in their own way. Everybody's so different, but just being mindful of having that balance. And it's especially in the fitness world too, like that's balance is such a tricky thing because it's really easy to go down that rabbit hole of like going all in when like you can raise a question, are you actually healthy? Because when you think about health in this like holistic whole being sense, it's so much more than the physical body. It's your emotional health, it's your relationships, it's your mental health, it's your spiritual health, it's everything. And when other aspects of it are on the declines, like you need to just start reconsidering your approach.
Yeah, this is definitely a big. And look, we're talking about it. Like I'd be the first to tell you, like this is something that I've still do, and I've continuously worked on myself. Is like, how do I balance out my passions?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a very intuitive person. I lived my whole life off of intuition. I built this whole gym and community off intuition. And sometimes I don't have the raw data to just tell me to do that one thing. And, people might question, doing this or that. But I try to listen to passion and excitement. And yeah, like a lot of times, like that can go one way. And I have to kind of come back and be like, okay, where am I lacking this balance? Where do I reflect on like maybe where to navigate this passion in the other areas that are making me feel a little bit more whole.
Yeah.
One example would be like, I mean, let's just talk about CrossFit. Back in my early days, like I was overly obsessive with competing, and I by far have learned to navigate that in such more of a holistic way for myself. But overdoing it with training or creating poor feedback loops in myself of it was almost like an addiction to fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily saying I was spending 5 hours in the gym or anything like that, but I was pushing myself in a way to compare
Yeah.
and I think I was getting a little bit further away of like my true self and my authentic self because I was living this. For me, it was probably more of like a traumatic feedback loop of like not living a life that I was able to live from high school, from playing football my senior year because I had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean like, oh, I shouldn't go pursue this passion of trying to compete because I've learned so many valuable things and I've grown so much from it. But, there's a lot of things I would have told myself back then of like, this probably would have been, a better way to negotiate it. However, again, like not reflecting on the past in that way, right? I have to be, like looking at those things like I learned a lot, I grew a lot, and
Yeah.
like how can I use those in a way for me to push me a little bit more forward in my life.
Yeah. In like the last, major thought I have is just instead of some people say like this is my escape, like this is my escape from reality. And I think
Oh
if
yeah,
you have that approach, like you're really just kind of you're not you're just not setting yourself up in the position to really thrive. Like think of this as like this is my enhancement. Like being in the gym enhances my reality, my everything I do, my career, my family, my friends. Like this is enhances it. It's not my escape. Like, I love to be there, and maybe I'm having like, this is a great time for me to just, I really enjoy it, but it's not an escape. It's something that is just like, this enhances. There's Because we don't want you to escape life. Like, we want you to just continue to just kick butt. It's just, life is more than the gym. The gym just enhances all of that.
Yeah, that's so right. It's like, I think that's something to question. If like, what are you escaping from?
Mm-hmm.
And this is part of where Coach Marco goes into his shaman's vibe, and he makes you do some inner work and inner reflection of like that curiosity of like asking more questions, like, why do I feel like this? What am I escaping from? Where am I lacking this love and joy and gratitude for other aspects of my life? And everybody's different, and I'm sure it gets very complicated for a lot of different people. And I've seen a lot of people go through this process, and I've worked with a lot of people who have gone through this process. And it comes back to just reframing this idea of taking what you do in the gym in a way to give you gratitude for what you do outside of the gym. And one of the things that we have included in the programming that you'll see more of is on Fridays is we're doing this gratitude cool down, and it's really just a way for us to connect to the community more. But yeah, a lot of ways it's just creating a better habit of you taking a thought that's a positive thought and a reflection on something, and then creating this new inner frequency within yourself, this vibration, this energy that creates positive feedback loops. Because the more you start creating negative feedback loops on something, and one of these feedback loops could be like, I didn't get into the gym today, and now everything is done. So we can go from a different perspective here. Whereas like, is that serving you? Right? So maybe it's like something kind of going off another thing, but if you didn't get into the gym today, it's okay. We say just show up, and that's the name of the podcast, but like, we're grateful that you showed up, even if it's one time a week. And so how do you again create this relationship with yourself that, even if you don't have the time or energy, or something pops up and you're not there, how do you show compassion for yourself and again have this relationship with health and relationship with fitness that still allows you to grow? So yeah, so these are all just more about things to contemplate. We're not really giving you direct answers of how to go through this. I think that's part of what Joe and I want to do for you is just make you reflect more, and then make you passionate and excited, and getting you to think about like, how what does that 10-year version of myself look like?
Yeah.
So any other things that come to your mind with this topic?
The last thing I think is just to give yourself some, have a routine that like is a healthy routine, like get enough sleep at night, eat well, but don't be afraid to just like have those nights where, you know what, I'm gonna watch a movie, I'm gonna stay up a little bit later. Like, it's okay, like, like how you were saying before, like when you go out to eat with friends, like, yeah, of course, like be mindful, but like just give yourself some grace to enjoy life, have an excitement for life. And if one night, you're out with friends and you're just, that's a big part of your health too. So just think about everything. The gym is one piece to a large puzzle of your life, and just always be mindful of that and keep everything in balance, and just try not to fixate on one thing, because then you kind of ignore the rest.
Yeah. Most essential hour of your day, y'all. Again, yeah, if it's the best hour of your day, hey, I love you for it, right? We're grateful for that. But yeah, just take with what you learn, even if it's just the energy from the workout makes you feel a little bit more energized through your day to be awesome. Hey, wonderful. All right. So a few things that we want to talk about here to finish up, and since we are really touching on this essential hour of your day, and getting you guys excited and passionate to be into the gym with our summer programming, like Joe said, like we want to really think about what structures us for success to show up. And sometimes too, keep in mind, first thing with the summer is just be mindful about fuel in terms of hydration and actual fuel intake. Like we were saying, sometimes we get overly excited to show up every day, and maybe we are not serving ourselves if we're not taking those other 23 hours of sleeping and providing ourselves nutrition with hydration, eating more carbohydrates. And we can talk about more about nutrition another time with Coach Amy. But you really need to make sure that you're not skipping steps, especially if you want to maximize the programming. So other than being consistent, you really have to make sure that you're fueling yourself. And it goes further past the hydration for sure. Uh, let's talk about the flow. Joe, what do you want to see, man? What's your what do you feel like you progressed on from the last phase for you?
So what I'm ready to do is get some testing in. I'm ready for some. I know it's so interesting because we'll have some newbies who came in, some new MFP members who began in the winter or the spring, and when we go through Olympic lifts specifically, there, if we are doing, like, let's say for example, just a true snatch, power snatch or squat snatch from the floor. When we were going through that last week, a lot of newer members were just so instinct ready to pause at like the hang and like going like doing some little ISO holds below the knees. I'm like, just go, like, because we do so much segmented work, which is really valuable. Like, going from, working from different hangs, or even if we're doing a little bit of like pause below the knees, like we've done that before. But it's good, it's cool, and like it's fun to just get that testing and like, oh, like what's my true snatch, what's my true clean. So just get an idea for it. And for some members, I know it's a little bit of it's a new experience because we don't do it, we haven't done that in a while. So I'm looking forward to kind of getting that flow going, kind of seeing where we're at.
Yeah, you're gonna have plenty of opportunity here. So in the spring, make sure you guys give Coach John a pat on the back for providing us, a really good program. I thought it would be a great opportunity for Coach John to take a phase here to, get some experience of programming for you guys. And so now we're just going to continue to progress off of some of Coach John's ideas. So first thing we're doing right now with this week is we are doing what we call like a transition or a testing week. So we are trying to just, again, get some general assessments of where our overall fitness is at, whether it's strength, capacity, stamina, mobility. Like, for example, today we were doing some get-ups. Tomorrow we're going to do some 1 mile. We're going to do a 1 mile run. We're going to do some bench press on Wednesday. And then Friday we're going to pretty much get our second like MFP capacity test. Last week we did the grippy workout with all the hanging and the deadlift and the ground overhead. So along with the snatch. So we will see those newer skills with the clean and jerk this week. But we're going to finish this transition week. And then what we're going to go into is 9 weeks for the summer. And that's going to be a 3-week rotation, which we've done this in the past. We basically just came off a 2-week rotation, right? Alternating back and forth week to week. And then now we're going back to a 3-week. We've done 4-week before. Usually we'll do 3 weeks. And then, so this works really well for us. We'll have 3 different weeks that will rotate through 3 total times. So week 1, week 2, week 3. Then that's 1 cycle through, 4, 5, 6, 2 cycles through, 7, 8, 9, third cycle through. And then we'll finish into 1 final transition testing week. So we'll actually do like a retest, which will be cool for you guys to retest some of the things that we're doing from this week, and then just kind of see where we made some progress. So if you don't have like a super consistent schedule, no big deal. But obviously this is where, having some consistency will be really helpful for you. So some things to look forward to. We will keep on Mondays the same theme in terms of trying to develop like body weight gymnastic skills. We thought the push pull was a really great idea for you guys. We did the pull up progressions, the push up progressions. So our fundamental foundations, we're going to continue to progress on for the first 2 weeks. So we have, like, for example, pushing, we have pulling, and then we'll have, actually the third week will be a lower body skill, like for example, developing a single leg squat, which is very important for longevity, but also a high level gymnastic skill. We'll continue with like those we'll do like an on the minute Monday. So right now we're doing like every minute on the minute. We might do like every 2 minutes on the minute. So you'll maybe have less exercises for more time to work on. But again, still things that are like a really good start to your Monday that, aren't going to overdo it for you guys, but are going to make you feel like you're accomplished and like you got a lot of work done. And then Tuesdays will be a good complement to Mondays. Again, usually Tuesdays, and by tradition, we like to do a lot of, maybe like moderate intensity work where we're not overdoing things. We like to add in some accessories. But you will get a little bit of an AMRAP work, so you get like a short burst of intensity. And we are going to have cash outs both Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday that'll alternate between either a core cash out, just one exercise, a cardio cash out, which will do, some sort of metabolic movement, or a bodybuilding cash out, which is just more about isolating joints and the tendons and the ligaments to make sure that you are, getting some sort of prehab, but it does affect, body composition to some extent. So these will be great for you to maximize. So you will get some of that Tuesday. And also, lastly, before Wednesday, Tuesdays will balance out, Monday's flow. So, if you're doing like some sort of push up progression or pushing progression Monday, we'll get maybe some sort of like lower body and pulling on Tuesday. And then Wednesdays are going to alternate through 3 of our basic strength movements. So we have our deadlift, which we built up to a 3-rep the other week. We have front squat, which we did a 3-rep last week, and then we have bench press, which we did a 3-rep this week. So what we're going to do is we're going to work off of those heavy 3 reps that you built off from those 3 movements, the deadlift, front squat, bench, and we'll actually use that as a assessment for us to do working sets off of to develop our strength specifically for those movements on Wednesday. So we'll alternate between those 3 movements. And by the way, if you're like Coach Mark, I don't even understand a word you're saying as you're talking through all this, you'll figure it out once you show up. So I'm just giving you guys a little preview. And then, we're going to do some intervals on Wednesday. We've been doing them Fridays. So we'll have a little bit more interval work on Wednesdays that kind of have that work rest. We'll have a little cash out, like you said, that we'll alternate again with, either if it's core, bodybuilding, or cardio. And Wednesdays will be a little bit more intense for sure because we want to ramp that up a little bit since Monday, Tuesday are moderate. And then Thursday, what we're going to do is, Coach John brought up the idea of like, the cardio, the active recovery. So we're going to call it long with capital LONG, longevity. So we're going to call it longevity. So meaning it's just going to be a long conditioning based workout, low intensity. Again, we're always going to have this no matter what. That Thursday will be traditionally a an extra movement selections that aren't going to create serious tearage in the muscle fibers, right? It's going to allow you to move, get a sweat, feel good, feel like you're getting a little recovery if you're a little beat up from the earlier workouts in the week. Or say if you're a newbie, it's going to be a workout for you regardless. It doesn't really matter what level you're at. So you're going to definitely feel like you're doing stuff. Again, they're going to be a 30-minute AMRAPs, and you have either a cardio movement, a kettlebell movement, and a general body weight movement that you'll AMRAP through on Thursdays now. So that's going to be a nice long conditioning base, low intensity. Thursdays, you might see this class pop up here called Mindful Mobility Movement with Coach Joe. Joe, you want to give us a little preview of something where, members might get excited for this little opportunity?
First thing, a lot of members have been asking for a Thursday 7:30. Well, you're going to have it. So it's going to be a different class. So similar to longevity in that you're going to be coming, kind of getting into your body, feeling good. I mean, it's not going to be like doing Murph or anything. So mindful mobility, it's going to be just a blend between a mindfulness practice and a workout. So think of the workout as like a bit of a mindfulness meditation, where the ultimate goal, those are all kind of, if you're not familiar with those words, don't let them scare you. All right. The ultimate goal is just to really get into your body. All right, the workouts are going to be longer, focused on more super slow eccentric lowers, all right, active holds, maybe more being mindful in how we just move, whether it's walking, running, biking, right? Just really getting into our bodies, being very aware of not just how we're moving, but like what feelings come up as we move, all right? So, if you are a member, you'll be very familiar with the movements we do. It's just like, when's the last time you sat in a squat and like we're really mindful about that squat, like it's easy even for the most mindful movers. It's easy for certain things just to kind of get in that rhythm. So when's the last time you really slowed down and were mindful about the way you moved your body and actually got out of your head and into your body? And then of course, if you're not an MFP member, if you're new, it's really a great opportunity just to get yourself very familiar with how to move, how to get into your body, how like functional movement in general. So there really is something for everybody. And I think that it's going to be a very unique class. All right, we'll have a 7:30 and then 5 p.m. just to start on Thursdays will be mindful mobility. All right, so I'm really excited about it. You'll see some more stuff coming soon, but it's just a great way to flow, get into your body, try to get yourself into a good space where you come out of there feeling good, ready to really integrate that into your daily life. Because like we were talking about here, so much of what we do in the gym is meant to live your life better. So the goal of the mindful mobility class is to learn how to live mindfully. Because we can't just, as much as it's great to be still and practice seated meditations or just being very still, it's just not realistic. We're always on the go. So just learning how to tap into that as we're driving the kids around, as we're going to the grocery store, as we're at work, right? Just kind of learning how to really get present and get into each experience. So
yeah, I love
it's gonna
that.
be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for something new like that, and it's great for. I would recommend it if you're a beginner at the gym and you're still learning, because that's the biggest thing we see with newbies is like they really are still learning how to connect their movement and actually like think as they go, and really this stuff allows them to have that longevity, right, when it comes to injury prevention. All right, beautiful. So last few things here is this Friday. We know that we're kind of reframing this idea of Olympic lifting. We're still doing Olympic lifts, but again, they're neurological skills. And so, how do we use these in a way to really enhance our relationship with doing high skilled technical things at the gym? So, yeah, we'll see our three movements. We'll do overhead the first week, which will be, push jerk and split jerks. We will have on the minute stuff, and then we'll do just a few working sets at a little bit heavier weights where or practicing whatever, if depending on where your skill level is at. So we have that, we have snatch, and then we have squat clean the third week. So we will be able to practice these skills. And then for Friday, the Metcons, the metabolic conditioning, we're going to have something for time. And the way that's going to work is, we're going to set a time cap, but when you're done, you don't leave. You're going to hang out, chill, support everybody else who's still finishing up, and then we'll transition that into our gratitude cooldown. So what we want to try to do is create, again, this little bit more intensity on Friday, transition that into, a more community-based cooldown where we talk a little bit, express gratitude for, the week of we have for training. And yeah, and it's really nice to do things that are for time and not always just like a set clock. So it really makes you, really think about how you're going to scale and modify so that way you can finish the workout and receive the correct dosage of intensity. And then Saturday, we're going to keep these partner chippers. They've been going really well. This was Coach Sean's idea. And so just a great way to integrate, the community aspect. And then be aware that we might have this one Saturday out of the month in the summer. It's called WOD and Pod. Again, going over that, which is again where I said in the beginning, it's going to be a little bit of some cold exposure maybe for a workout. So yeah, stay tuned here. Again, the best way to experience and understand the program is to is to show up and be there. So if you're not sure about a schedule, 2 on, 1 off, 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 2 off. You can have some sort of schedule where, again, allows you to, stay consistent, recover, fuel, all those things. And so just really keep playing around with it. And we have you have your coaches here to refer to in class to have a conversation with, like, hey, I'm feeling a little sore here. Should I take a day off? Or we might be like, hey, what are you eating? How are you hydrating? Are you getting enough fuel in you? So all those things really come to an importance for your longevity in terms of continuing the program. So that's it. All right, we're going to wrap it up here. We're going to finish it up. Tune in next week. We got a special guest. We got a member coming on for Just Show Up podcast to give you guys a little insight of the member experience. And then, just stay updated with everything on social media. Make sure you guys keep continuing to check our emails. Start having conversations with your friends and family about CrossFit, because we would love to have some referrals and love to give you guys some free months. And then, let's just keep at it, team. So who's sponsoring us today?
MacMart.
What?
You know about MacMart?
Never heard of MacMart.
The mac and cheese place.
Oh, that's the name of it. So huge shout out.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this, because I haven't had a chance to talk to Jackie and Kev about this. Yeah. But team, we have MFP business owners, new business owners. Shout out. Everybody knows the Falcones. Again, they'll eventually be guests on our podcast, but let's give a shout out to MacMart. Their new business, I believe it's in Ardmore, right?
Yes, I think opening around Labor Day. So get ready.
Mac and cheese, baby. Can't go wrong with that.
Yep.
Bring the family and friends. All right. So shout out to MacMart. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great one. And again, start thinking about how you were going to make the gym the most essential hour of the day. So again, Coach Marco.
Coach Joe.
All right. See you next week.
See you, Mom.
Peace.